Hello, this is DK. Welcome to the Wheel Print Podcast, brought to you by APM Medical Supplies. This podcast is created to uncover the inside game of adaptive athletes, their untold stories of what drives them and makes them tick. So be prepared to be inspired as we discover the trials and triumphs of the human spirit. Enjoy this show.
Hello and welcome. I'm DK and I'm the host of the Wheel Print Podcast. Here we are now with the second part of our two-part episode with Megan Blunk and focusing on mental health and really utilizing Megan's strength and wisdom and experience in this area that's often is often misunderstood. So I feel really good about covering this, and I hope you, the listener, will share it and be engaged by what you're about to hear. So Megan, here we are, part two. Wow, I've never done this, and you're a first. We got a two-part series going, and we got a little momentum. I think we left off with your injury and how you were recovering from that, what your mental state might have been, and then the decision to attend U of I and go to college.
Yeah. So the accident, so I'll tell a little bit more details of the accident. So I was the passenger on this guy's bike who was my friend's friend. I didn't know him. He was just giving people rides, and I actually didn't even really want to go, but my friend was like, "What? Just go. Don't be lame, And I was like, "Yeah, you're right. I'm being lame." So I got on the bike. I know I talked to you about this, the helmet that didn't fit, and then he was passing cars on corners, and my gut was like, okay, that's not smart, but everyone's out their window cheering us on. We had 5 trucks of friends with us, and it was just, my gut was telling me it's not safe, but I just did it anyway. And the driver ended up losing control of the bike. There's a lot more to it, but that's not a part of this one. So he lost control of the bike. It ejected me off. I flew up and hit a street sign. And then the helmet that didn't fit me came off. And then I went over a 15-foot cement wall drop and 30 feet down this incline. And I broke 18 bones altogether. My best friend was in the truck behind us, and she jumped over that embankment and was looking for me. And then when she found me, my legs were spread apart and my head was face down in the dirt between my legs. And I wasn't breathing. I had a collapsed lung and 4 broken ribs. And then I started saying, "I can't breathe, put me on my back." So she moved me onto my back, which could have severed my spine, but it most likely relieved the pressure because I did get my quad muscles back. But then I started trying to feel my teeth, and I was like, my teeth, where's my teeth at? And there was just blood on my hand, and it felt like all my teeth were gone. And then she was like, "Your teeth are fine." And then I started trying to move my legs, and I was like, "I'm paralyzed. I'm effing paralyzed." And she's just like, "You're okay." And I remember going up the hill on the stretcher, and you're just in shock. So it's not like I was in immense pain. Our bodies protect ourselves just like our brains do. And then going into surgery, and my parents came to see me, and they told me that I said, "You let go of the handlebars, who the F let go of the handlebars." And they were, and that's just what I kept saying. And then the first surgery was 11 hours, where they took the shattered pieces of my T12 out of my spine. And then the second surgery was a day later, and that was 14 hours, where they put a cage around my back, around the T12. and fused it with one of my ribs. And then I was in the hospital for 23 days and lost 30 pounds. Just a lot of denial and confusion, and just a lot to take in, at 18 when you're being told you're never going to walk again. And, but I just kept saying I'm going to walk again, and, this isn't a big deal, and I'm going to, work hard. And that was the only vision I had of how life would get better, is walking again. And I didn't know anyone else in a wheelchair. Like there was one kid in my elementary school. He was very popular, Jose, but I didn't know anyone else. And so the hardest part was going home in a wheelchair, because I thought I was going to go to rehab and work hard and leave walking. Like that's what's going to happen. I can do this. And then going home and facing everything that was from my old life and everything I couldn't do anymore. Just that was so incredibly hard. That was the hardest part. And I laid on that couch for 3 weeks, just staring at the TV, just like numb. And I wasn't really eating or drinking. And then one day, like, I just remember, like, I just kept making myself go to sleep, and then I'd wake up and I would just want to escape again. So I would just go to sleep. But I woke up finally with this like sense of peace over me. It was just, I don't know what it was. I can't remember exactly, but it really did feel like God or the universe, or just, I finally like was, I don't know. And so it started with my mom trying, asking me if I wanted to go to the grocery store. And I've told this story a lot, but it's really like these are vital moments in my progression. And we were at the grocery store, and in my small town, people are all looking at me like such a sad story, and there's Megan, like, oh man, she's paralyzed now, and she was so athletic, and it was just, I felt like they were looking at me with, your life is over, and just so much pity. And I was trying to be strong and hold my head up and not cry. Like that's just like the main goal of going to the grocery store was just work on not crying, like just try. And it was hard. I would just start crying because of the way they were looking at me, or because of, they would come up and they would say, I'm so sorry this happened to you. Like, you're too young to be in a wheelchair. And it was just like so weird. I know you heard this in the other podcasts, but
well, yeah. And I heard it in my own life.
Yeah.
I had this friend, this girl, she'd been drinking, we were in the backyard. She goes, I don't know how you did it or do it. I killed myself.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I know.
did I just hear that? Come on. And anyway.
Yeah, and it blew my mind. It was like so weird to be on the other side of it, because I used to be that person too, who thought that, like, I thought people in wheelchairs, this is one of the biggest things I learned, was I would think that when they're in their wheelchair and they're staring off into space, like a normal human being, but I would be like, they're probably thinking about how they wish they could walk. And I don't know, it was, but no. Like, I sit and I stare off, and that doesn't mean I'm just living my life. But like, I think about now, like, what that does to these little kids that are growing up in wheelchairs, and they're being told that, like, this isn't really a good life. And they hear these things. Like someone told me, you're too pretty to be in a wheelchair. And it's just like, what does that mean? Yeah. So it was just constant reinforcement from the world around me that being in a wheelchair was a sad life. And yet I was like, I can't believe that. That cannot be the way that I see this, because I have to live this life, and I need to find a way to overcome this depression that I've been struggling with. And I have to believe. And so that was like, no matter what, I was fighting back against those looks. And all the times that, they're just like, oh, well, do you want to watch? Or, like, you don't have, like, you just have to keep being like, no, I want to do it. I want to participate. I want to find a way to make it work. And so I got like, either they would tell me, it's such a pity I'm in a wheelchair, or they would tell me that I'm such an inspiration and all of those things. And I know, like, I've been laying on the couch for 3 weeks, not eating or sleeping, and I don't want to be alive. I'm sick of being told that you're lucky you survived, or like, because I don't feel lucky right now, and I'm stuck like this. Like, that does not make me strong. Like,
No,
I'm just in a wheelchair.
And inspiration is not part of me right now,
No.
at all. Yeah.
Like, what about it is inspiring to you? Like, I understand now the whole thing about us just going to the grocery store inspires people, But I was like, it made me feel like I was fake. Like, it made me feel like I wasn't, if I told them how sad I really was, they would be disappointed. It goes to that thing that I started feeling like, if I tell people the truth, I'm going to disappoint them because I'm struggling. I'm sad. Like, I'm not strong like you think I am. I'm not this person that's like, look, I got my quads back. And I get up and I show them how I'm waddling, and they look at me like, that's great, and I'm like trying hard to be like, no, it's gonna be really good,
Yeah.
But so finally I got to the point where I was so sick of hearing all of that, and I was like, I'm sick of people looking at me with pity, and I'm sick of them telling me that I'm an inspiration and not feeling like I am one. And I lived my whole life with people telling me how good I was at sports, but I never felt like I was good enough. And I was like, I don't want to live that way anymore. I want to be a real inspiration, and I want to do something that will make sure that no one can ever look at me with pity again. Like, I didn't know what it was because I didn't know about any adaptive sports yet. This was in 2008, and social media was new, so there wasn't like a lot of information out there. And obviously, no one in my town knew. Like, they were just thought my life was over, So it wasn't until like 9 months later that I learned about wheelchair basketball, and that some guys get together like 20 minutes from where I live, and they play at the Y. And I went and checked it out, and I knew it was my second chance at life to overcome the regret that I felt for all the times that I held back because of my insecurities, because I was scared of trying. And the pain was like too much that I would run away from it. And so I was like, this is my second chance to face that fear and all those insecurities and overcome it and turn this accident into something that was worth it, And I just knew that no matter what, I was going to earn a full ride scholarship to a college, which I learned about then. And also I learned about the Paralympics. And couldn't believe that I had never heard about that before. Like, that is so crazy. The Paralympics, like.
Yeah. Well, what's crazy too is what you just said. That you don't really know what you're saying, but I'm going to get a full ride to college and play sport and go to the Paralympics. Or understand more of how to get there. And like, you're brand new at this game, and yet, boom, talk about the next step and being there.
And sports being that tool that you can use to move forward in your life, and connect and heal, and it can definitely be that place. But I had no idea how. I just knew that no matter what, that was what was going to happen. Like, I was still in an everyday chair. I hated playing, actually. Like, I actually did not enjoy it. It was like, because it was so frustrating. Like, all I wanted, I didn't want to be, like, all I wanted to do was get up and run around that person's wheelchair and shoot the hoop. But it's like running into metal, over and over. And I felt like every time I ran into that metal chair, it was just a constant, like, running into a brick wall of a reminder that you cannot get out of this chair and go run to that hoop. You don't have that freedom. And if you ever want to get around this person, you better figure out how to get better.
Yeah. Well, and you figured it out, you problem solved and adapted, and you talk about you graduated just like you saw yourself. Full ride.
Yeah, I earned a full ride to the University of Illinois, and I became the first in my family to ever go to college and graduate, and got my bachelor's in psychology and my master's in social work. I played there for 5 years, and I made the USA team in 2013 and played on the team every year until 2016, where we went to Rio. And yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then the drive for all of that, which is the drive for this project, and then the drive behind everything I do. Because I remember you asking me, like, what is it that's like pushing you, or like there's something more? And it was the belief that if I faced it and if I accomplished this, that I would overcome my depression. That like I told myself, there's no way you're going to make it to the Paralympics if you don't believe in yourself by then. Like you're not. And so that was my drive. Like no matter how hard it was, no matter how much I was hurting, and I just was like, it's gonna get better. You are fighting it. You are doing it, and I just kept going. And it was exhausting. I tried every day for 5 years because of my mental health. My family wanted me to quit college and come back home because they were scared I was gonna take my life. Like it was so exhausting. And like I said, I didn't know I had ADD. So I had no idea why I drowned so much in school. Like, I'm not every teacher office hour. Like, I'm the last one taking the test. I'm just literally giving it everything I can, but I'm drowning. But I'm doing it, and I'm showing up at practice at, 5:30 in the morning. Always the last one in. They're always calling me, and I can't answer the phone. I'm pushing my wheelchair, so then I fly in there, get in the chair, and get ready for practice. But that's the running late thing too, just nonstop chaos. And so one thing I want to say about that, like practices and ADD and BPD on top of that, was when I was at practice, we were doing an end game. I think I told you about this, but like, the end game is our coaches, the end games. Like you tell the players all these different things, scenarios for the end of the game. Like you got 3 minutes, so-and-so has 3 fouls, this person has 4, you have, all the balls at this end, and then you have to be listening and then ask all the questions that they didn't answer, and then go and implement it. And I could never keep up with all of that. Like it was overwhelming, and I was always so insecure because I'm like, every single practice at the end game, I had no idea when we went out there. I was like, I can't process that fast. And so I remember this one practice where I probably pulled an all-nighter studying, and it was an end game, and I got the ball, and I starting when they're doing the jump ball or whatever, I was looking down trying to remember what jersey color I had on, because I'm like, oh my gosh, what team am I on? Like we're starting, and I can't. And then I got the ball, and I was like, okay, be confident. You're going to this basket, and I just went for it, and I made the basket. But then I turned around, and everyone's like, my best friend Olivia on the team, she was like, Megan. And I was like, and I went to the wrong basket. And everyone was just like, what the heck? And I remember looking over at my coach, and she just, to me, I felt like she was so irritated with me, like just so annoyed of me, like because I'm reading into everything, and I'm in this state of constant like fear of like, and I hated myself for days after that. I hated myself. I was like, are you kidding me? This is so embarrassing. Like, and I had no control over it. Like I didn't know how to get a control, and they were putting me on medications and trying all this stuff while I'm doing all of this. And it was hard.
I feel the hard. I feel the hard. And the one part you said though is, you understood when somebody told you had a fast brain, but yet in a fast where you have to respond, it like got overloaded, or you use the word that might be more appropriate in that situation. what would you say?
Well, it's a fast brain in the sense that we're like constantly taking in all this information, and when we go to process it, it like drops. Like you get like 5 things of stimulation, and it just drops it all down. So then, and like someone who doesn't have ADD, they take in that stimulation and they process it, and they drop down one thing at a time. So a fast brain is just like all of it together. Like everything is connected. It's just like, okay, like how do I figure out the like order of importance? You know, like we don't, the executive functioning is not the same. Like, so the fast brain is just like taking it all in, everything, the words, the body gestures, the everything on top of the trauma I had that makes it harder. And that's the fast brain. It's like I had all of that. I was like, but okay, that person has 4 files. Wait, what team is that person on? Am I on that team? Like, you know, and then I couldn't like collect that because she's already talking about the next thing, and I'm trying to figure out like so many things that I couldn't process. Like,
you have all this going on, but there are other players that have stuff going on. Maybe their twitch is a little bit slower when it comes to that. What would you suggest for a coaching style that really would blend to the individual unique differences that coaches encounter with disabled kids and adults?
Well, it's hard because I did try, like, I tried asking for a way to learn the end games differently, but I didn't. For one, I felt like I'm needy, or I'm just like, a lot of times I didn't ask for the things I needed because I felt like I was too much. Like, so that didn't help me learn. So if I could feel like maybe I can, you know, the coach is more approachable or like understanding of, it's just all of society, understanding mental health better and knowing that we all learn differently. And if someone makes a mistake and goes to the wrong basket, like, they might really feel upset with themselves, and, you know, they might need some kind of reassurance. Like, I don't know how to handle that situation or like some of these, but I do think that the tone of voice, you got it. You know, I know it's hard to always give that pat on the back, or that, I know it's hard for a coach because you get so into it, but for me, I needed that reassurance so badly, because when I made one mistake, I was spiraling. My brain, like I said, the amygdala was just hyper, like, from all the trauma that, you know, all of it was creating those patterns of instantly going to that place of, you're a shitty person. It's also called quiet borderline. I take everything inward and I hate myself. I don't like lash out at people like in intimate relationships, just whatever. But like,
Right.
If I looked over after making a mistake and I saw the coach like anything that wasn't reassuring, I would read into it as, they hate me, they're sick of me, they think I'm never gonna get it together, and I wouldn't get any better, because then I'm falling behind and I'm not in the moment in the game anymore, and I'm just scared of the next mistake I'm about to make. And I would try and remind myself, when I would see someone miss a basket, I'd be like, Megan, everybody misses. See, Gail just missed. You know, Olivia just missed. Yeah. But then as soon as I miss it, that's all out the window, and I cannot remember that. I just think I'm the shittiest. And that's where the slowing the brain down to get out of that state of mind that I was in was what I needed.
Okay, that example, though, drives home to me that a coach has to really know his or her players. You know, a hard ass, you got to know who you're dealing with in terms of that child, that newly injured adult, even this seemingly adjusted older adult. how do they react to what style? And if you try to treat everybody with the same style, especially when we're talking about psyche and your example of I'm a shitty person if that person shrugs their eye or shoulders at me or gives me a look. So I really think everyone has to be treated differently, yet within the confines of the team where you got, you're all the same kind of thing. But, you have to earn your stripes and know that this person needs to be dealt with this way. And, being a hard ass 24/7, especially in the women's game, does not work. It does not work.
No. And yeah, I know you have a lot of experience learning all of that. And yeah, it doesn't.
Well, okay, so you get a degree, your first one in your family to do that. And things are, on the surface, look it up. I think you become attractive to one, the national team, two, sponsors. Talk a little bit about that scenario, national team and then sponsorships.
Yeah, so in 2016 is when I finished the first part of my master's program. I graduated my bachelor's in 2004. So I started college in 2011, got my bachelor's in 2014 because I had my associates that I transferred with. And then in 2016, right before Rio, I finished the in-school portion of my master's, and then I had my internship to do that I was doing after Rio. And so Rio, we won gold, and it was incredible. We really did have a very strong team. Like that team, we were coached really well. It was we knew the game like inside and out of like how to handle every situation. And I don't know, it was we were a good, really good group at that point. And that's why we won gold, because we solid. And but I had been thinking that, by that time I would have overcome my depression. Like that was my whole driving force. And so the fact that in Rio I was still struggling was really devastating to me. I didn't expect to be still so insecure and spiraling in a second. Like I still had not gotten a grip on any of it, because I was still being told that I just had depression, and I was being put on medications that were actually making my brain even more, like even worse. I was overthinking, racing thoughts, and I didn't know. I was just drowning,
Yeah.
It wasn't, just how can a coach help you? It's like the mental health system, if it could be better, if we could remove stigmas so that people can learn more. Like I never even considered borderline or any of that when I was reading the DSM when I was in my grad program. I was like, oh, that's in the, personality disorders. I don't have that. But like, it's a pattern. It's a survival pattern.
And bringing it out is the only, your honesty and willingness to be who you are in this moment, and plenty of before this time. I'm a big UCLA fan, and Kevin Love from in the pros played for Cleveland, and man, he had mental health issues and kept it to himself until he blew up. He just couldn't perform. He isolated, and then he started to share, and now he's a big advocate and has brought attention to the elite level athlete that has experience with mental illness.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why I want to share it, because the stigma that borderline has, it's like, I'm still me, like I've been sharing my journey for as long as forever. And I've tried to be as honest as I can. And when I talked about the struggle with depression, I would get, I get all this feedback of people saying, I hope you can figure it out someday, and we're here for you. And, we're so sorry you're hurting. But if I've been scared that if I tell them what I have figured out, I have figured it out, now I know it's not just depression. Depression is a symptom of this pattern that's causing me to be in so much pain. And but if I tell you that, are you going to see me differently? Are you going to suddenly, borderline has the stigma of people being really manipulative, and but the reasons why they have that is because they don't understand the intense pain that we're in, that it's not manipulation. It's literally desperately trying to not die, trying to not take your own life. If you Google what is the most painful mental illness, it'll be borderline personality disorder, which made perfect sense to my pain that I had been dealing with. And the suicide rate is really high. It's very intense, and it's your brain taking you down. But once you can actually know what's happening, there's triggers. There's if I missed a shot, if I looked at someone and they were rolling their eyes, if I get a text message with a period instead of a smiley face, I'm like, oh my gosh, it literally, it's nonstop trying to tell myself that they don't hate me. I'm not a shitty person. It's okay. It's nonstop. It's exhausting.
But you've been in search, you've been in search mode, and you have educated yourself. So now to have come to a place where you have more understanding of what's going on with you and when it's going on, can only feed itself to that healing we talked about in the very first few minutes, and anybody and everybody, everybody wants to see you heal, that knows you, loves you, and nobody's thinking what you think they're thinking, for the most part.
Some people are, though, and that's okay. That's something, it's it's okay. Not everyone's gonna like you, and that is okay.
Yeah. But I think again, where the warrior and the lioness in you has come out has been arming yourself with information. Mm-hmm. And it can only help. I'd like to take a minute to tell you about a company that's important to me and my wheel print. APM Medical has chosen to sponsor the Wheel Print podcast and my DK3 events. This is who they are. They give back to our adaptive sports world. I encourage you to look at APM to provide you with your personal care supplies. It just makes sense to support those who support us. Email APM at info@apm-med.com. Mention the Wheel Print podcast to receive your next order, how you want it, and when you want it. APM Medical is a small company with a big heart. Now let's get back to our conversation with our guest. I sense you're at a much better place than you were in 16. Mm-hmm. When you said you couldn't, everything was still unraveling. And does that mean you're still, you still have struggle? Absolutely, you do. Absolutely. But you're making, it's not me to say, it looks like you're making progress.
Yeah, I can quickly get us to this point. I made the 2020 team, and then, and I was back on that mission of after Rio, I spent that year kind of I did everything I could and I still couldn't overcome it. And I don't know what I have to fight with anymore. Like, I don't know if I have the belief I'll ever get better. And this is too painful to live with, but I can't figure it out. So I spent that year trying to figure it out, doing my internship. And then I ended up getting back into the basketball again because it was my identity and I didn't know who I was without it. And I was like, I'm not done. I think I'm going to believe in myself. And I went through the whole thing all over again until COVID, when right around that time is when the medication they had me on was making it really hard to function. I started thinking maybe I'm bipolar. I learned that by a lot of times severe depression is misdiagnosed, or bipolar 2 is misdiagnosed as severe depression, because with bipolar, you have severe depressive episodes and then mania, and you don't know you're being manic when you're go, 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 go. But you know when you're severely depressed. And so you don't seek help until you're severely depressed. And when you go to the doctor and all you tell them is how sad you are, and they don't know how to ask the right questions. And if they ask you if you're manic, you say no, because you think being manic means something totally different than this go, 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 gotta make it, like on a mission. And so I was like, okay, you know what? That makes sense. I was misdiagnosed and I have bipolar. And I was like, that's a lot to take in, but I can be that. I can help with bipolar. I can be the poster child, whatever. I can face it. But then that started not making sense because I was like, no, I don't stay up for days at a time. It just didn't make sense. And then I came across a borderline personality disorder that it's from triggers, and it's often misdiagnosed as bipolar 2. And it happens, you get triggered and then you go into a severe depressive episode, but it lasts like 4 to 8 hours, sometimes a couple days, but it's different. And if you don't understand those differences, you wouldn't know how to figure it out. So once I figured out the borderline, that was a lot to take in. I thought I could handle bipolar, but borderline was something so much different to come out about or even to accept. But the good thing about it was that you can heal from it. It is known that you can heal from it. And so I started on that journey, and then that was right when COVID happened. And so I tried to tell myself that I could heal and then go to the Paralympics in 2021 and be where I wanted to be, because now I know what's wrong with me and I can work through it all in this year. And then I got
at the top of your game.
Yeah, that's what I wanted.
You were at the top. I mean, as somebody who watched you, but
yeah.
Does it matter when we're talking about what we're talking about? Mm-hmm. No, it might just complicate everything even more.
Yeah, because I was falling apart internally, but and so that was my plan, but I just couldn't work through it that fast. It was a lot to take on, and the stigma and the fear and the self-hatred, and I needed to step away. And I realized that, so I got off of medication. I saw quarantine as the perfect time to take a break in the world and find myself. This is probably never going to get a chance again, and so I wanted to get off that medication without just getting on another one before I knew what was wrong with me. But coming off of medication is extremely hard to do. You get very emotional, can't stop crying. We had our USA Zoom calls, every other week or every week. And I literally couldn't talk without crying. And it was really embarrassing. But our athletic trainer encouraged me, our strength and conditioning coach encouraged me to share my journey with my team so that they could learn, because we already had 2 players quit without talking to us, I guess. And so I tried to share, but it was really embarrassing to me. And it's still hard sometimes, because I feel like I went out in a way that isn't understood and is not exactly the hardcore strong, it was crying all the time and saying that I don't know what's wrong with me and I need to take a break from this team. Because if I wasn't going to get on another medication, I needed to naturally slow my brain down, and I knew I did. And so the pressure and the stress of being on the USA team with Nike sponsorships and the Hartford and all of this attention, commercials, everything with BPD, and me thinking, I thought things like, I don't want my teammates to be upset with me if I got this sponsorship, and like, I don't want to be, and it was just like, I'm like, I'm not even good enough. Like, they're going to be like, why does she have that when she's not, and I'm like, I'm not even a starter. Like, they're going to think that Nike's going to be like, wait, what? You're not? Like, just weird things that I was always scared about. And I felt like I wasn't good.
Well, it's too bad that, corporate sponsors like that aren't like taking a happy pill, because you had them going on. Nike's not too easy to get into their stable, and the Hartford and Challenge Athletes Foundation, Performax, Angel City,
Kobe.
Well, I'm getting to Kobe. I'm not forgetting about Kobe because I'm a Kobe freak. Matter of fact, Ishel gave me the, Mamba Mentality book back there, and I got a couple Kobe jerseys, and I'm a Laker diehard. But yeah, that 30 seconds of power that you were in that commercial with him, tell us just a little bit about that, Kobe, and did you feel his mentality? How'd that go?
His genuine sincerity. Like he was incredible. Just honestly so calm, and like what he was doing for us in that moment. He's a big supporter of women's sports and lifting it up, and so it was me and two other girls for CAF, and he's just, we had great conversations, and he was just real and in the moment, and it gave me something that I will never ever forget. Like that, he gave me a strength and a belief in myself that no one can take away. And that's actually a situation that I am proud of myself. Like, I woke up the night before and I threw the sheets off at the hotel, and I'm like, what the heck? You better make your shots, Like, I was like, what? And then, and I did. I made my shots. Like, I was just shooting around with him, but I'm like, still, am I going to be able to feel my arm, Like, and I did. And it was amazing. And
we were proud to see you in such an ad, and in that circle. You gave us all street cred. You gave the sport street cred that we desperately need and needed. Well, but you were there, and you were chosen for a reason, and you had your part. And people are used to seeing Kobe, but I'll bet you people locked on you a lot more than they probably even did on Kobe in that ad, because you were the one that was making it happen sitting down. I think you did that little flip thing where the ball came back around. I mean, come on. That was good stuff. But all right, let's keep it rolling, because man, we're still covering ground here. I'm not sure, but I think you said in one of, I don't know if you said if it was life, but you said it's respect, trust, and love. Did you say that?
Probably.
Well, if you think you did, what do you mean? Respect, trust, love.
Well, I'm not respect, trust, love. Well, I'm kind of like hung up on one thing that I just, like, you talked about the sponsorships and how I had all that going. I had to answer.
I should know by now. Your brain works that way.
So I have to just say how, yes, I had all of these amazing opportunities happening, and it was almost making everything even harder because I couldn't feel and appreciate, and like, and I felt like I didn't deserve them. And also choosing to walk away from the athlete that I had been building up, and like everything I had been working towards, quitting the 2020 team to take care of my mental health. That's all of that was so hard to let go, because it was my identity. Just like you said that your identity, when it was taken away, like I had to make the choice to find my identity, because I felt like I just don't know who I am and why and I need help. And so, yeah, that was, and I think that the fact that I had all of it going like that made the decision that much stronger for me, because I had to really understand why I was doing it. And it was for me. And it was because, like I said, I don't think the world's ever going to shut down and we're going to have all this time. And I couldn't see myself being in a gym shooting all day long, not even knowing if the Paralympics are actually going to happen in a year, when I needed to be healing myself. I needed to be connecting with family, and as I moved back to Washington from California, and I just tried my best to keep every distraction and every the stress, heal myself.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what I see on Facebook, and then in our conversations, I understand it even more. But, maybe you want to just dive with a little more detail that what you're doing to the house and making it accessible. Talk about eliminating all the distractions. When you had all those sponsors, I'm sure you had to speak, you had appearances, you had, they're great, but man, there's some high pressure situations, more travel, and then in pandemic times, come on, that's crazy. So,
yeah.
But those distractions that I want to know, because I want to go there, I want to get to my place where I can put all my little plans and events and gotta do's in a place where I don't have to do them. I've made a decision to focus on my grandkids, to focus on the fish that might bite on the end of the line, that's what I want to know.
Is how I did that, or where I put all those?
Well, I guess the why, you moved back home, you said, to eliminate distraction, and then you absorb yourself in a daily regimen of work that demands focus and little distraction, at least as I see it.
Well, this is where I feel like the universe will just conspire if you follow your heart and you try. And I needed to move back home because, like I said, I didn't want to just take another antidepressant. Like, I was trying to heal and know who I am without being on this medication. And so I needed a place to live where, because I couldn't function. I couldn't not cry. I was so depressed, not on a medication. But I was like, you just have to give yourself time. Your brain will start healing, and maybe you don't know your what is it? Your even ground, or so I thought, like who you are without medication, without everything else. And this opportunity to rent this house, my dad had reached out to this lady who, he had been helping take care of it. It had just been sitting there. It was kind of, deteriorating, and he asked if maybe I could rent from her, and she was like, yeah, of course. And it's very affordable, more affordable than ever anyone could find. And it's my own place, and a place that I get to work on, like be creative, and I can cry all day for, ever, and work through it, because I have a space to do it. And that was just incredible. So I made it a year without an antidepressant, so depressed, struggling, and COVID, quarantining, crazy stuff happening around me in Washington. And then, I did end up getting back on an antidepressant after I learned about myself without one, which was I have ADD. Like, that's what I never knew. And that helped me a lot. So yeah, that's what this house is it was a place for me to be creative. And I think creativity is that's just everything. I love being creative.
Yeah. Well, your creativity has come out in social media. I mean, how you frame up the mundane into something that's really pretty fascinating and attractive is creative. So what's your intent with the use of social media, or what's the message you want to get out by capturing a day in the life of 32 days or whatever so far?
So many days.
Yeah. What do you want the message to be?
Well, there's a lot of messages with it lately. Yeah, of course. I'll keep it short though. For one, I want to share that it's not always picture perfect, like we're not all just happy. And I know that I do share that I struggle, but then when I don't, people will be like, but you look so happy lately. You're still struggling. And I'm like, yeah, I'm still struggling. Like, I mean, I get you don't know, but like, it's like we all just forget, like when we see just all the good times, just everyone looks so perfect. And social media, I wouldn't even be on it if it wasn't for the accident, and knowing that it's a platform and like it's an opportunity to.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But the other side of me is it's also really, it can be really toxic for me with a mental illness that I'm fighting, of thinking that everyone hates me, like it's like in your face. And as I was telling you and Ishel earlier, like if I'll read into things, because I'm always reading into things. It doesn't matter if it's social media or in person, but in social media, it is always in your face of, how many people liked it? Or that's not even, my thing is more just like, if this, if maybe someone hasn't been liking it, someone I really care about, and I'm like worried that they're upset with me or I did something, because that's always, my mind just takes me down like that. And so I might reach out to them and ask this question that I feel very judged on, because I feel so stupid for saying, how, like, are you maybe upset with me? And they're like, well, why would you think that? And I'm like, I'll just be all honest, because you haven't been liking my posts, and like, I didn't know. And they're like, really? Like, but I don't need them to like it. I just need to stop my brain from reading into that. And I just need them to reassure me that their love is not conditional, and that no, they're just busy. They're just, I have to try and stop seeing in black and white. But that's the part of the therapy I need for borderline, is to start bringing all the pieces together and knowing that there's a gray area. And like, people, like I said, if they don't text back, if they like they're just busy. It's not anything to do with you. And it doesn't make me a selfish person that I'm stuck in that fear mindset. It's that I have to understand that that is what's happening, and be able to not think that way, because I don't want to be thinking that people hate me,
Yeah, they don't. And yet social media can be turned around like that. And just think of the young, inexperienced girl that is just starting out in their life and insecure, and what would you tell them about their how to find their true self?
I think you have to just keep trying. You have to, like, you got to open up to the right people, and that can be, if you open up to the wrong, or also you have to be understanding that people are not always going to know how to respond in the way that would be most helpful, and you have to have grace for them and for yourself. That, I think you have to find your tribe by being yourself, and let go of those who, this just, my path is changing. It's not, the wheelchair basketball world is not everything for me anymore. Now I'm in a creative, like, woodworking and like mental health even more, and my tribe is going to be different, and like these people might fall off a little bit, or just, become a little more distant, and that is okay. Like, it's okay. It's life. It's, we connect, we come in for seasons. I'm learning to let go more, and to just know that who's with me in the moment is who's meant to be with me, and that, like, that I can only find my tribe by being myself.
Amen, man. I'm feeling like I might be part of your tribe. I'm hoping I am. I'm grateful for I think 2018, that might have been, we knew of each other because I coached women in early as 2010 and 12. And your name was being bantered about. But yet we've developed a real connection really over this now, and I'm so grateful that you were able to move me out of my comfort zone and really try to make a difference in an area that I have very little experience with, except my own personal stuff, which I shared, which I, but this has been what it was meant to be, and it's like water flowing downhill. It's got its own mind and its own direction, and it's going to continue to follow that fall line, and that's kind of like I think this whole this 2-part episode has gone, and easily could go maybe another episode or another part 3 or 4, but here we are. We put our best wheel forward in this 2-part series. Megan, do you have any parting words to anybody that's listening?
No, I just want to definitely tell you and Ishel, thank you for being who you are. And honestly, if I just get that one text from you, like, sometimes that really saves my whole spiral. Like, that love, Ishel's reassurance, it's everything. And I just want you guys to know that your grace for others is, it goes so much further than you even know.
Well, and wouldn't the world be a better place if that was happening everywhere we turned, but grateful for you, Megan. Thank you for being a guest on the Wheel Print podcast, bearing your soul to help others. And most of all, I hope to help yourself, because any of us that know you, that's what we want the most, is your healing and your heart to be massaged, and I would just say be good to my friend is my parting words to you.
I will.
All right. Thank you for all our listeners for tuning in. It's a 2-part series, and share the heck out of it, so that the more people that can hear this and become aware that mental health and illness is real. It is real.
Mhm.
All right. Over and out. Peace.
I hope you enjoyed today's show on the Wheel Print Podcast. I invite you to check out our other episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or on our website at DaveKileyDK3.com. Special thanks to Dromos Agency for producing this podcast, our lead sponsor, APM Medical, for their support, and Performax Wheelchairs, a sweet ride.